There are so many good things going on right now in the NBA. There's so many great stories. LeBron James chasing his fourth title. The Lakers, arguably the most popular team in the country in the NBA, are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2013. The Bucks, they're chasing their first title in 50 or so years. While they're also trying to make the case to Giannis that he belongs in Milwaukee long term, that they can contend for titles for years to come. You have both teams, Bucks and Lakers, losing game one in the first round. And while no one is giving a chance to Orlando to beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series, there's a lot of people that think that Dame Lillard and the Blazers have a real shot at pulling the upset on the Lakers. Charles Barkley, the other night on TNT after game one, he's even predicting a sweep of the Lakers by the Blazers. We have Utah-Denver, who already had a classic in game one. That's going to be a great series. You have the Thunder and the Rockets, and even though game one was a blowout, that series, I believe, is going to go 7 games. The NBA has a load of talented young superstar players. So on paper, the league looks to be in great shape for years to come, even after LeBron retires and rides off into the sunset. With all of this good stuff going on right now in the NBA, why do we continue to see headlines, continue to see videos on YouTube every day about the dire straits that the league is in right now? NBA ratings are down. NBA is in trouble. Clay Travis with Fox Sports outkicked the coverage. He has been vocal about the supposedly sagging NBA ratings. It seems like he's talking pretty much every day about it. He even had President Trump on his show the other day, and this is what the president had to say about the NBA and its television ratings. Quote, "Look at the basketball ratings. People are angry about it. They have enough politics with guys like me. They don't need more. There was a nastiness about the NBA and the way that it was done. The NBA is in trouble, big trouble," end quote. What President Trump is talking about is the politicization of the NBA. And this isn't just happening in the NBA. It's happening in the NFL too, though in the NFL, it is on a much smaller scale. Right now, at least. We'll see what happens once the regular season kicks off next month. I say on this channel all the time, politics and sports do not mix. There is no place for politics in the NBA, in the NFL. Now, that doesn't mean that the players don't have a voice, shouldn't exercise their voice. Everyone has an opinion and the right to express it however they want. That's not what I'm saying. But there are consequences to doing that. Here is the problem with implementing political issues into the NBA, or any sports league for that matter. No matter what side that you're on, whether you're right or you're wrong, you are going to alienate 50% of your audience. Now, me personally, I could care less about the NBA putting Black Lives Matter on the court or kneeling for the national anthem. I don't care about the social justice messages on the back of their jerseys. I do think all of this is ineffective. I don't think it changes anything. But if they want to do all that, fine by me. More power to you. I just want to watch them play basketball. However, not everyone feels the way I feel about it. There is a portion, a sizable portion of their fan base that does care. Many of them with deep pockets. People who buy season tickets. People who spend money on merchandise. Now, is that the reason that the NBA ratings are down? Well, first of all, the NBA has suffered a ratings problem for much of the past decade. Since the 2011-12 season, Ratings are down 45%. They have essentially lost half of their audience in 8 years. Now, what's strange about that is the 2011-12 season was that lockout season where it was shortened. Now, you figure ratings would be low for that season, right? You'd figure that the fans were pissed off, which they usually are when the owners and the players cancel an entire season or a portion of the season arguing over money. NBA games on ABC that season, 2011-2012, they averaged 5.42 million viewers. Now, ratings on ABC this season before COVID hit, 2.95 million. TNT, down 40%. ESPN, down 20%. So the drop in viewership isn't some new problem that the NBA is facing. This is a deeper issue that's been going on for a while now. Now, pre-COVID, ratings across the board for the league for this season were down about 13%. Attendance, down. Many people blame this on the reaction to Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey's tweet supporting the protesters in Hong Kong who were protesting for their freedom, in which Adam Silver and LeBron James and pretty much a lot of people in the NBA blasted Daryl Morey for supporting freedom fighters in Hong Kong against the Chinese government. Now, how ironic is it that Adam Silver and LeBron, I use those two because they're pretty much the face of the NBA. How ironic is it that both of those guys who were against the protest in Hong Kong are now overtly supporting the protest here in the United States? So what that means to the casual fan, the way it looks is the NBA doesn't support freedom in China, but they do support people protesting for social justice and anti-racism or systemic racism, whatever they're calling it, in the United States. What it looks like to the casual NBA fan is the league has an agenda. They pretty much sold their souls to China for money. I'm just saying. That's what it looks like to the casual fan. That's what it looks like to a lot of people. And a lot of people are obviously upset about it. So let's get back to my original question. Are NBA ratings really down since the restart? Everyone predicting the imminent doom of the NBA. Do they have a point? Well, they kind of do. Yes, NBA ratings are down. But you have to remember, a lot of these games since the restart, they're taking place at noon, 3 o'clock, in the middle of the work week. Once you remove the day games and just focus on the primetime games, which is when the NBA would be on television during normal times, ratings are actually up 8% when compared to last season, towards the end of last season. So that's great news, right? NBA ratings are up. I thought so initially, but it's not really all that great when you put it into perspective. Out of curiosity, I went and found the ratings for the NHL, Major League Baseball, and compared them to the NBA since both of those leagues restarted. The NHL is up 57% in comparison to last season. Major League Baseball up 18%. But it gets worse. The NBA's most watched game last week was watched by less people than golf, NASCAR, and wait for it, wrestling. Yes, fake WWE wrestling had more viewership, higher viewership than the most watched NBA game last week. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It brings me no joy pointing all of this out because I love the NBA. It's my second favorite sport behind the NFL. I want them to do well. There really hasn't been enough data yet for the playoffs to determine if the ratings are up or down compared to last season. Plus, the majority of the games during the playoffs are being played during the day when most people are at work. But believe me when I tell you this, the NBA needs a strong showing in the playoffs. Their TV deals are coming up for renewal soon, and broadcast rights are a massive portion of revenue for the NBA. TV rights right now are more important than ever because they don't have fans in attendance. So teams are losing big money right now, especially during the playoffs. There was a glimmer of hope Monday night. The game between the Mavericks and the Clippers, it drew 2.3 million viewers. It was up 25% compared to last year. But that is still a really low number for the NBA playoffs. There have been regular season games that drew higher viewership this season than that playoff game. The first game of the restart, for example, between the Lakers and the Clippers, it drew 3.4 million. And it was the lowest viewed Lakers-Clippers game of this season. Things are not great right now for the NBA. There is no putting lipstick on this pig. I have tried thinking of possible explanations as to why people are not tuning into this season. Maybe it's the lack of the crowd, no fans in attendance. But that doesn't work because the NHL, Major League Baseball, they don't have crowds either, and their ratings are up double digits. Maybe it's because it's summertime. Television ratings take a nosedive every summer. That's why most sports leagues aren't played in the summertime. That's why most television shows don't produce new episodes in the summertime during July and August. Yeah, the NBA is declining right now because they're having to play in August. That's got to be it, right? But again, you can't blame that either because every other sport right now is experiencing huge increases and they're playing in July and August. The bottom line is, the NBA, before this restart happened, sold out to social justice, to political issues, bringing things to the forefront, whatever you want to call it, they sold out to it. And it is killing their audience. The NBA is the only professional sports league that has dove 110% into this social justice movement. And whether you agree with how the NBA is doing it or not, you can't argue against the fact that it is directly impacting their television viewership. Now, I think, and at least I hope that they are learning a lesson that a lot of people know already. Twitter, Facebook, social media in general, it is not real. The NBA, I feel like, devised a platform for their restart based off of what people were saying on social media, what was happening in the mainstream media. Failing to realize that most people don't want sports in their politics, don't want politics in their sports, vice versa, however you want to say it. We don't want politics in our sports. And what makes this worse, the NBA should have known better. Not only did they have the whole Hong Kong debacle as an example of how something like this could blow up in your face and be damaging to your league, but all they had to do is look at what happened with the NFL a few years ago with the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. The NFL took a beating in the ratings when Colin Kaepernick and some other players were kneeling for the national anthem when all that was going on. I think the NFL ratings for that season were down like 20-25%. Now, Colin Kaepernick, the NFL pretty much blackballed him from the league. Something that you figure would have made the fans happy, brought him back in. That didn't work. Now, the NFL ended up rebounding the next season, but that's the NFL that we're talking about. The NBA is not the NFL. I think one of the big problems in the NBA, besides the fact that they've pissed a bunch of fans off the past 12 months, is that Adam Silver has allowed the players to basically run the league. The NBA is a bit different than the NFL, in that the NFL, we follow teams, while in the NBA, we follow players. But that's not a new thing. That's always been the case. The reason that David Stern was such a great commissioner, he found that perfect balance between letting the players have a little bit of power, but David Stern still maintained control. Oh, and he never allowed politics to infiltrate the NBA. This isn't all the NBA's fault either, by the way. I'm not jumping all over the NBA. This is not all their fault. ESPN, Fox Sports 1, the sports media in general, I feel like they're also to blame. LeBron James had a press conference the other day, and one of the reporters asked him his opinion on Donald Trump's comments about the NBA, the ones I shared with you earlier. Now, who cares? Why is LeBron James being asked that question? You should be asking LeBron how the Lakers are going to get out of this shooting slump that they're in and not get swept in the first round by Portland, by a number 8 seed. That's what the media should be focusing on. It was not difficult to predict this ratings decline in the NBA. I told you guys a month or two ago when they announced having Black Lives Matter on the court, all the other stuff that they were doing that was political, supporting the defund the police movement. When all that was going on, I told you that this would possibly have a negative impact on the league. Now, I'm not right all the time, but it wasn't difficult to know that this was going to happen, that by doing this, you were going to alienate a sizable portion of your audience. The question now is, what is Adam Silver? What is the NBA? What are they going to do about it? The league has put themselves in a position to where now they're kind of caught in the middle between the players and their audience. And you can't have one without the other. If you don't have fans, the league goes bankrupt. And if you don't have players, you don't have fans. At the end of the day, you can't serve two masters. Now, I hope the playoffs for the NBA are a massive success. But to be perfectly honest with you guys, I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, luckily for Adam Silver, America in general is a forgiving country and also a forgetful country. So the league can bounce back. He's just going to have to figure out that politics and sports don't mix. All right, that's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Is the NBA in trouble with these declining ratings? And is the ratings decline during the regular season going to be the same for the playoffs? Are they going to be down for the playoffs as well? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Have any questions, a topic you'd like me to discuss? You can email me at BTLKC84@gmail.com. I will see you guys next time.